For those that celebrate it, Halloween and the overall spooky season is literally just around the corner, so what more could one ask for than the intriguingly titled and perfectly ambianced Otome for the season, 9 R.I.P. Developed by Otome and published by Idea Factory International, 9 R.I.P. gives a taste of spooky with a heavy dose of romance, and is truly a fun experience full of ghosts, ghost stories, magic, and all the supernatural things that you would want from a paranormal visual novel. Yet another Otome in the large visual novel library that the Switch has to offer. So the question is, how does it compare? Why don't we peek into the magical world of 9 R.I.P. and see if you're willing to dive into the spooktacular world that it has to offer. This video was not written by me because I would never make a pun like that. This video was in fact written by the lovely Katie Pajamas. These are her words, not mine. Let's see what she thinks of 9 R.I.P. 9 R.I.P. stars Misa Ishiki, your average student that's trapped in the ultimate dilemma of trying to choose the university that she wants to go to while fighting off her mother's suggestions that she does not want to pursue. While Misa doesn't want to disappoint her mother, she also doesn't want to live the life that her mother is trying to lay out for her. While trapped in the ultimate dilemma that has been laid out in front of her, she hears a voice whispering to her, and suddenly finds herself spirited away to another place, another world, but where? This is where our story starts, and now we welcome you to the craziness that is the route options in 9 R.I.P. There are several different common route options, being school ghost stories, containing the Hibiki and Kuhera routes, urban legends, which contains Senna and Koyo routes, other realm with Seiya and Minami's route, and lastly, the spirit world, tying in the last couple of routes with Yukimaro, Koharu, and one locked route that becomes available after finishing up a few other routes. Many of the routes tend to not fill in all the details about the overall game plot, so just as in every other Otome, certain ones will give you more details than others. There is no required route order in 9 R.I.P, so you're free to play them at your leisure, with the exception of the final route, which requires a few routes to be completed before it's available. It seems the spirit world had the most overall story-filling details, and since you're going to have to play again for that final route anyways, it makes the most sense to save that section for last, since you'll have to return to it no matter what. As you can see, with as many love interest choices as we have here, there's a lot of different personalities and Otome boy tropes to see in 9 R.I.P. And I didn't think a single one didn't live up to what we all want to see and have come to expect. And since the routes are broken up into different types and varieties, you can also expect different atmospheres as well. While the school ghost stories, implied by the name, is filled with an overall creepy vibe to it, and dare I say contains a few jump scares, you'll find the other routes to be a lot less eerie, but more focused on mostly supernatural and other ghostly vibes. As a result, I would never call this game like a full-on horror game that you're gonna scream to, but instead just an occasional creepy but mostly romantic and paranormal based kind of ride. All that being said, there is no shortage of just good Otome fun here. Every love interest has a different route with their pros and cons, and out of all of them, I found Koyo, Kuhera, and Senna to be my personal favorites for their style, romance, and overall looks. Speaking of looks, there is a lot to be said for this game visually. Not only did they nail the theme in CGs, but the game screams atmosphere through its soundtrack, menus, and even the case for the game itself. You can't look anywhere without finding something that gives you classic horror vibes with its red tints, striking colors, and moody sound effects. Even the game's choices are divided, sometimes into cognitive and insanity choices, which play a role in some of the routes, but how, you'll have to find out yourself. One of the things that I think really sets this game apart is its length. Since you're looking at a lot of love interest, you'll naturally have to invest a lot more time. You're looking at pretty close to 50 to 60 hours, which is how long it took me, for everything that you want to see in every route. And while this sounds like a lot, because it is, I never felt like I was being bogged down by how much there was to see, even with all the different endings that you want to see for full completion. It never felt like a chore to read, but more like a good investment, because I was so wrapped up in finding out what there was to see that I haven't uncovered yet. It sits up there with the longer Otomes, but don't feel intimidated, but instead let it intrigue you. One last thing to mention is Misa as a character sees a lot of overall character development, and it can't be ignored that while she may not be the best of the best when it comes to Otome heroines, she holds her own against the competition. She felt strong, real, and I never felt that she wasn't the one driving her own decisions against those around her. In terms of pros and cons, this game has many pros and for me, very few cons. I am a simple lover of Otomes. I enjoyed Misa's interactions with the love interests and their roots. While, as is usually the case, some weren't as strong as others and left me wanting more, the majority of them felt just right. I love a good visual novel with a lot of different roots because it builds the world out so much and gives you a lot to learn and love about the lore that you're being fed. 9 R.I.P. filled that spot for me and gave me everything I wanted. No major flaws took away from the visual novel experience, and if anything, I'd give it a gold star in overall presentation since it really will stick with me for a long while as a solid Otome and a solid visual novel for what it puts forward. It also goes out on a limb of good but not always happy endings, which is rare for this kind of game since normally you look for the sunshine and butterfly ending since, it's aimed at romance. But again, I didn't mind because it makes 9 R.I.P. what it is, which is uniquely, specifically fun. Overall, 9 R.I.P. gives me all the things I wanted from it, and even what I didn't know I would need. While from the outside it appears to be full of scariness and screams, inside it's soft, cozy, and only occasionally creepy, much like rewatching your favorite old horror movies. I can't recommend everyone pick up 9 R.I.P. enough. It's out now and just calling to those that love a million love interests, a game that provides atmosphere, and for all the classic Otome vibes that we're currently spoiled with. Also, did I mention that Otomate just announced a sequel? If that's not a sign to go pick it up immediately, I don't know what is. A 9 out of 10. Do we do scores on this channel? I don't know. Katie wrote 9 out of 10, so it's a 9 out of 10. I listened to her, okay? Thank you to Katie Pajamas for writing this review. If you want to pick this up physically, because yes, it does have a physical release, then please do so with the links in the description and the pinned comment. That massively helps support me, and I can support Katie Pajamas for writing this, yeah? I hope you all have a fantastic day. Take care.